America, home of the land, free, free of the brave. Hold on. America, home of the free, land of the brave. What does that even mean? Well, in America, we have individual rights guaranteed in the constitutional amendments. We have separation of powers within our government. With that, we have checks and balances, and we're a democracy. But what even is a democracy? Here's an idea. Let's look up democracy, then American democracy, and then let's maybe look at the news. Democracy is a system of government in which the state power is vested in the people or the general population of a state. All right. What about American democracy? Okay. I think that rings pretty true. Let's look at the news. Donald Trump destroy U.S. democracy. American democracy is now in grave danger. Democracy without America. Is democracy dying? So then the question becomes, is American democracy actually dying? Right? Well, we see that in today's day and age, we have a lot of political polarization, right? No one gets along anymore, and there's a lot of division. Coupled with that, we also see there's a lot of erosion of trust within institutions. So, why are we polarized? How is trust eroding? Could it be technology? So let's take a look and see what some smart people are saying. People smarter than I. So within political polarization, within social media, we see that echo chambers push extremism, right? And social media is making echo chambers so easy, right? So the idea behind echo chambers is that if we look at this image here to my right, right, you're in a box with only your ideas, and right, you put your ideas out and you only hear your ideas back. So therefore, you must be right. Now, social media is great at making these echo chambers due to these filter bubbles, as defined by Fraser. We also see this with the rise in strictly partisan news sources, which has also increased political polarization due to Stroud. So a common thread with that is new media, new technology, new ways of allowing this polarization to happen, right? So next we can take a look at the erosion of trust in institutions. And so we've seen that there's a marked decline in institutional trust, right? Social media proliferates fake news. Our previous president and our current president-elect, right? One of his slogans is fake news. Can't do a Trump impression, but right. And this leads to nothing but skepticism toward the media and the political establishment. Social media, it reaches millions of users, right? Everyone's mom, dad, grandpa, great-grandpa, great-grandma, they're all on social media, and they're all affected by this. And this just gives way to distrust in the institutions, and it affects things like the legitimacy of the electoral processes, right? So if Americans can't even trust how the elections happen, how they go down, then how are they to trust who's in charge who's elected to those positions. And that often is caused by conflicting information. And that was research done by the Pew Research Center. And so we see the same common thread. It's new media allowed by new technology. So Mom was right. It's those darn phones. We, collectively as a society, right, are constantly bombarded by news and social media, constantly within our echo chambers, and something has to give, right, at some point. So, can we fix it? Bob says we can. One way we can fix it is through media literacy, right? We can evaluate news sources, recognize bias to reduce the impact of polarization. This will make us less susceptible to ideological reinforcement, and it enhances our ability to discern credible information, figuring out whether news is fake or not, whether we can trust the news source, who it's coming from, and really see whether or not the news source has a strong political affiliation or leaning that's going to cause you to learn or think a certain way. And so, therefore, we would see a reduction in the influence of echo chambers, right? Our views would get more diverse because we would be hearing more and not stuck in that box that we're so often confined to. Another way we could do this is through regulating algorithms. Now, regulating algorithms in itself would be pretty hard. So instead, I would advocate for algorithmic transparency. And so what this would do is disclose how algorithms prioritize content. So that would allow us to make more informed choices about the social media we use, and it would start breaking down the filter bubbles. Now, something else that might come from this is the incentivizing the adjustment of these algorithms to make them more diverse and balanced, so that way you're not so stuck in your political realm's echo chamber, really. Another idea is just get out and talk, right? Having civil discourse, right? Community dialogues, bipartisan discussions. The sooner we can realize that we can go out and talk to the people and not everyone is against us, and that we can have these normal discussions about how we can make our country better, the better our country is going to be, and the less we will be politically polarized, because we'll see each other as people and not as the enemy, right? And so this allows us to engage respectfully, so we can work towards common solutions, breaks down walls, and builds bridges. And so all that will reduce political polarization. Another point that we can help to fix this is through media transparency. So fact-checking efforts have increased public understanding when it comes to fake news. We see when fact-checking sources are integrated into mainstream media that there is effective. It's effective to allow people to better understand the information because it's right there in front of them and they don't have to go search for it themselves. Additionally, we can look for transparency in political advertising on social media. This can include disclosing funding sources and political affiliations. This can help to reduce manipulation and help voters make informed decisions. And, of course, misinformation continues to evolve. The ways it's put out there is continuing to evolve, and so the prevention for that will need to involve in parallel with that to meet that demand and prevent the spread of misinformation. And so finally, one of the greatest solutions that you can have to this is civic education. It's the critical long-term solution that is truly needed in America to really bolster the next generations to get out of these same traps that we're falling into today. We need to teach democratic processes, how government functions, the importance of voting is a really big one that needs to be hit on. Included in that, you can think of critical thinking, media literacy, as previously mentioned. That should also be taught within the growing civic education, because we have to face the fact that our next generations will be chronically online. And so having that instilled in them, how to decipher the media that they're consuming, is going to be very helpful in securing American democracy in the future. And so with that, there's also the ethical use of technology. And this will create a sense of agency and responsibility toward their communities, right? And that's going to be a perpetuating cycle. So if a generation, feels this way, they're going to instill that into their kids, right? And they're going to get their kids to feel responsible for their communities and really bolster just a growing sense of the American spirit to bring us all together and realize that we are all just people, which is often forgotten. So we have a path forward. American democracy, I do not believe, is doomed. There are challenges present, like political polarization, the erosion of trust, and misinformation that's widespread. But these challenges are overcomable, but we really need to put in work to overcome these. And one way to help that is just to get off your phone and engage with your fellow citizens. So that is all I have. Thank you.